Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. The price of XRP and most cryptocurrencies, frankly, today have been sliding downward, but according to on-chain analysis by respected on-chain analytics firm Santiment, not exactly some sort of negative indicator. Let me share with you several headlines and I'll explain what I mean here. Here's one from the Crypto Basic. Here is a signal that shows likelihood of a higher XRP price rally. Here's one from the Daily Hodl. XRP showing bullish signal amid trader capitulation, according to crypto analytics firm. Here's one from Times Tabloid. Crypto strategist Ali Martinez says if history repeats itself, this sign shows XRP pump is coming. And here's one from FX Street. XRP on-chain activity signals incoming price rally as holders await SEC v. Ripple verdict. So what we're seeing here, again, as I cited a moment ago, is price sliding downwards. But if you look at what this typically means, because what we are talking about is capitulation here, this precedes pump to the upside. And so I'll get into why this is being stated. And it's in line with something that I've been saying for the longest damn time on this channel. Because look, we understand, right? People make all sorts of important financial decisions based on emotions. They get the feels and they make important financial decisions rather than using logic and data and understanding human psychology and how it causes people to make important financial decisions, typically to their detriment, utilizing emotion. We are aware of this, right? Well, this is on-chain analysis specifically with the XRP ledger that specifically highlights that. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Right as I record this video, XRP is down to 46 cents, so down 3.54% over the last 24 hours. Bitcoin down to $30,248, down a little less than 1% over the same time period. Market cap for the asset class, 1.17 trillion. Bitcoin dominance, 49.98%. So it's actually climbing still, which again, I'm happy to see. Let Bitcoin lead the pack. Let what has historically happened over pretty much all of the last 14 years continue to occur, which means Bitcoin leads, and then eventually money cycles into large cap coins and everything else that we hold. Totally cool with that. I have no qualms with that. Here we have the Crypto Fear and Greed Index at 54 out of 100. So market participants, not surprisingly, seeing that prices have been sliding downward, no longer in greed, hanging out in Neutralville here. But that's not such a negative thing. And, you know, looking at this, which, again, all it does is just validate what I already knew to be true, but it's so worthwhile being aware of such an on-chain metric, this having to do with capitulation. So I'll go through this article from the Crypto Basic. Again, this one's titled, Here's a Signal That Shows Likelihood of a Higher XRP Price Rally. The bears have displaced XRP from 50-cent psychological territory as it failed to capitalize on the latest market rally. Amid this situation, some XRP investors have resorted to capitulation, eliciting concerns among market participants. Yes, that's right, market capitulations. Other peoples are doing a thing, causing XRP price to go down. I'm scared. I'm going to do the same because reasons. It'll be good for my financial future. Piece continues. However, a recent report from behavior analytical resource Santiment suggests that this trend signals that XRP has a higher likelihood of staging a price rally than most assets. Well, wouldn't you know it? Eventually you run out of people to sell. So it sounds counterintuitive on the surface if you haven't thought through it, and I understand why, and that's reasonable. But literally what they're stating here is that when you see this activity, Santiment is making the argument that on-chain, just pure data shows this is a bullish sign. Yes, price going down, people panic selling, making important decisions based on the feels. It's actually good for the price action of XRP. And so here's the actual comment from Santiment. As crypto's largest assets are ranging to start the week, XRP is showing a slight bullish sign due to mild trader capitulation. Historically, coins moving at a greater ratio at a loss compared to profit have a higher likelihood of rising in value. Well, I'll be gosh darn on that. Are you kidding me? And so they write here, here it is. According to the behavior analytics platform, historical data suggests that when a crypto asset faces a period of losses and a higher number of on-chain transactions resulting in losses, a subsequent price rally often follows. And is that really that surprising after you've thought through it? I can understand how the surface of that might sound weird. Wait a minute, you're telling me the price is going down and that means that the price is going to go up? You crazy? No, bro, I ain't crazy. What happens is eventually you run out of those people that make those important financial decisions based on the feels. Whereas then what are you left with? You're left with people like Moon Family Sedan here who literally will not sell unless it's like way higher price than it is today. You end up being left with a bunch of people like me. Because I ain't kidding when I say either I'm riding this bitch to zero or I'm riding XRP to a new all-time high, and then we'll, just like a dollar cost average in over a span of years with a few larger purchases towards the tail end of my accumulation. Just like I did that, I'll be scaling out of my position over a period of time. Although I'm going to have less time to scale out. I do believe that, because if you look at what happened when XRP hit its all-time high, on the way up to its all-time high when it really started moving, that only lasted about 2.5 weeks. And you could sell a little bit on the way back down because it doesn't mean it went back to where it started immediately after the all-time high was hit. So there can be, you could consider it to be a bit more than just 2.5 weeks, but not that much more. So in terms of scaling out, it's going to happen fast. And depending on how quickly the price action happens, and I'll be happy to talk about it on the channel when we get to this point, which I'm assuming will happen. Or I'm wrong and it goes to zero. That's possible. It is possible. But it may be the case that I'm selling not just once a day, maybe multiple times per day. Depends on how quickly the price action is occurring. Because I want to get exposure at different price levels. Just like I dollar cost average in and get exposure at different price levels, I'll start scaling out. Which means, like, let's just make this, maybe this will be more or less what I do. I haven't 100% nailed it down even after all this time because there's a lot of moving parts. And depending on what's going on with the dynamic situation, that would absolutely impact what I choose to do in the moment. But let's just say that I choose to sell, for example, from like $5 to $7. So maybe, I'm just making this up. It may be about this, could be a little off from this. So maybe I sell a small percentage right as we hit roughly the $5 mark. And then most of it gets sold around $6. And then I sell a very small amount, the last little bits, as we approach $7. So that's the concept. It doesn't mean it would necessarily be those numbers. And again, in case you're new to the channel, I do plan on selling at probably somewhere in that range. Maybe some a little bit higher, maybe some a little bit lower. And the reason is, and I understand, it's not some sort of belief that it's not going to go way higher. I fully acknowledge XRP could go way higher than that. I don't know, but I invested way more than the typical human did so that I'd be able to get what I want out of XRP by selling at lower price levels than other people. That's it. It really is that simple. And we all have different financial goals and such. That's it. And so I'm not going to feel bad or stupid to see, like, say I do sell out and it averages out to like $6 or $7, whatever. If I see it run to $25, I'm not going to be kicking myself because I will have gotten what I wanted. And I'm taking risk off the table. Why would I beat myself? That's childish. That's as stupid as just beating yourself up for not having, last week's winning lottery numbers. You can't know that. You can't know what's going to happen with this price action for sure. It's just as childish. That's the way that I look at it. Anyway, the piece continues here, though. An investigation by the Crypto Basic corroborates these claims from Santiment. A closer look at the XRP ratio on-chain transaction volume and profit/loss metric shows that an increase in loss-taking trades preceded the price surges experienced in January and March. Folks, that's right. As we enjoyed those big moves to the upside in January and March, what preceded it was people panic selling, throwing in the towel, and then there were none left, and what do you know, things reversed. Tale as old as time, my friends. Then they write here, the rationale behind this trend is that when a crypto asset experiences a higher ratio of losses to profits, it may indicate that weak hands, or investors with lower convictions, are capitulating or selling off their holdings due to market turbulence. Once these weaker participants have capitulated or exited the market, it can create an environment where the supply pressure decreases, potentially allowing the price to rebound. Yep, pretty simple concept here. And I'll also state, and I wanted to make sure to mention this, at least spend a minute or two on this minimum on this video. I'm impressed by this. So look, here's the headline from the block. MicroStrategy buys another 12,333 Bitcoins for $347 million. So publicly traded company MicroStrategy, helmed by Michael Saylor, founder of the company, who is an absolute Bitcoin maxi. And he does say all sorts of he has really nonsensical legal takes in the world of crypto. He says that XRP, the asset itself, is a security. So he's obviously clearly wrong on all of that nonsense, but it doesn't mean he's wrong about everything. He's found a lot of success in his life. And the part that I admire, not the bad legal takes, those are nonsense, but I admire the accumulate, because he has a belief. He has a strong belief in Bitcoin, and as a result, he's treating Bitcoin the same way that I'm treating XRP. So for me, that just means I accumulate and hold with the strong belief, although not knowing, strong belief that it's going to be worth an absolute fortune in the future relative to what it is now. He's doing the same thing with Bitcoin. I respect that. I really genuinely do. I don't know for sure how the shareholders and others feel about it, but my God, this man has conviction. And I respect it because I'm in the same mindset with my XRP. And true enough, my crypto, broadly speaking, because I have been holding Bitcoin also since 2017. I just say XRP because I'm most excited about XRP, and it's my largest individual crypto holding. And it's where I just have my strongest individual focus when you're considering different coins. But yeah, of course, I'm interested in the other coins and the space in general, obviously, just like the rest of you. But take a look. So here's the actual tweet from Michael Saylor. I don't really need to read the article. I mean, the headline pretty much says it all anyway. But this is Michael Saylor from this morning. MicroStrategy has acquired an additional 12,333 Bitcoin for $347 million at an average price of $28,136 per Bitcoin. As of June 27, 2023, MicroStrategy hodls 152,333 Bitcoin acquired for $4.52 billion at an average price of $29,668 per Bitcoin. That's pretty incredible. And it's worth highlighting. The people that get it, just in a general sense, like crypto is here to stay, even just having that, I just noticed that they tend to treat their crypto holdings different than the typical lemming retail speculators out there who use emotion to make important financial decisions. Anybody else observe that out there? It can't just be me, right? Now, Attorney Deaton shared something from Will Clemente, who does on-chain analysis. Will Clemente wrote, "Concerns about how much Bitcoin Saylor owns are silly. Number one, the guy is clearly not voluntarily selling anytime soon. Number two, no individual controls more of the network than anyone else, no matter how much they own. Three, we likely see larger positions from nation states in the future." All right, so I don't care whether it's, so on that first point, the guy is clearly not voluntarily selling anytime soon. Okay. I don't care, though. There's going to be whales, and there always have been whales, there always will be whales for pretty much any asset under the sun, including commodities. That's typically the case anyway. So the fact that that's the case here with Bitcoin, and there are Bitcoin whales just like there are XRP whales, so what? I don't care. As long as I can get mine, I don't care. And then when he writes here, no individual controls more of the network than anyone else, no matter how much they own. Yeah, and you know what? You know who else makes that point? Everyone in the XRP community, because it doesn't matter how much XRP Ripple holds. It has nothing to do with centralization or decentralization of XRP or the XRP ledger. Nothing to do with it whatsoever. You know, centralization, it's different than quantity, of the asset hold. It's literally not even the same concept. So the best way to word it is a concentration of an asset held is not the same thing as centralization. And then number three, we will likely see larger positions from nation states in the future. Yeah, that's reasonable to speculate. But it's not going to matter. Even if you see large, I don't care. I don't view that as some sort of bad thing anyway if there are whales. It's just my personal opinion here. And so Attorney Deaton retweeted that and said, "I've never filed a shareholder class action lawsuit against a company, so please take that under consideration as I think out loud," a dangerous thing to do on Twitter. "I agree Michael Saylor clearly has no intent on MicroStrategy voluntarily selling Bitcoin anytime soon. But MicroStrategy hodls 152,332 Bitcoin acquired for $4.52 billion at an average price of $29,668 per Bitcoin. At what point, if any, does a fiduciary duty to shareholders require selling some Bitcoin, thus protecting the original $4.5 billion expenditure of capital to acquire Bitcoin?" And that's a great question. I would love to know the answer to that. I think back to when a few years back, whenever it was that MicroStrategy jumped into to crypto, specifically Bitcoin, obviously. And I remember watching all sorts of interviews of Michael Saylor because it was such a fascinating thing. This guy's running a publicly traded company. He's like, "Yeah, we need a metric F ton of Bitcoin." I was like, "Yeah, it's awesome. Fantastic." Now, I didn't know he was going to be some sort of ridiculous maxi ultimately, but I still think it's awesome that he jumped into Bitcoin. But at the time, they had a substantial surplus because the pandemic times were actually quite good for this company just by the nature of their business and how things unfolded. And he articulated reasons why at the time, and he just said, we had to put it somewhere. And he went through all the reasons why it didn't make sense to put it into gold or commercial real estate, or you could only put so much into things before it becomes problematic. And he just found that the solution was Bitcoin ultimately. And I'm really condensing down all of the thought process they went through, obviously. But it's not just that. They ended up also taking out a loan. I'll highlight that in just a second here. But Deaton also said, when Bitcoin hits $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, my understanding is that Saylor has 70% of the voting power. Maybe this has been addressed before. And yeah, maybe it has, and I just don't know it either. But I don't know how he can just continue to accumulate and have that be an outsized portion of what the company is ultimately worth, and then not do something about that in the form of selling. And maybe there is a good answer in some way with not doing it, because he's made it clear that his strategy is to just never sell Bitcoin. That's pretty much it. Because where else are you going to put it anyway? He's basically just been trying to combat inflation. That's largely it. And here he had Ripple employee Neil Hartner respond to Deaton, and he said, MicroStrategy is like a leveraged Bitcoin trust. They financed a lot of their Bitcoin purchases using over $2 billion in debt. They've taken out loans against their Bitcoin holdings to buy more Bitcoin. At some point, to pay off the loans, they will have to sell Bitcoin or issue equity to raise cash. And so, even if that's against what Michael Saylor wants, maybe eventually that does actually happen and just ends up having to sell a certain quantity. Because otherwise, I don't know what the fault's going to look like. I'm just thinking, if I were a shareholder of this company, would I be starting to pitch a fit at some point? If it becomes like way more than it already is in the future? Perhaps. It'll be interesting. But either way, and so those are just interesting questions, kind of food for thought. But either way, again, the primary point here is that I love that this is happening. This is a vote of confidence in crypto, despite I hate maximalism. It's the most toxic thing in all of crypto, so I'm always going to speak out against that. And all the nonsense takes that he has on the legal front, like I said a few minutes ago. But let's differentiate between these things, because yes, we can all push back against those, those of us out there that are level-headed, just want a level playing field and want to live in reality and understand that there's not going to be one coin to rule them all. We can push back against all that stuff, but still acknowledge that it's kind of baller AF that this guy just has this level of conviction and is just going for it. He believes what he believes, and I get it because I feel the same about crypto in general, and specifically about my XRP. I could not feel more strongly about that. I can't imagine how I could feel more strongly about it. Having researched this for over half a decade and been in it. But that's also why I always want to do my best to make sure I'm staying grounded in reality, because there is such a danger as falling into an echo chamber, and that's how I think you get a lot of the toxic Bitcoin maxi nonsense. So I've always done my best to push back against that and say, okay, whoa. It's okay to push back and question, hey, is there a problem here within what's happening within the XRP ecosystem? I always welcome those things, as long as people are operating in good faith, for sure. And so that's one of the things that I'm always looking at when I'm considering, am I going to go off the rails and pull a Michael Saylor? Well, I don't think that's likely. I really don't think that's likely. I'm so anti-maximalist even after over half a decade. Not likely. But, it does happen to people. Even in our community, it does. It happens in every community. So that's why I always try on this channel just speak in terms of reality and what I think is actually reasonable, even if it sounds negative in the short term. That's just how I approach it. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.